I guess we're live, and I have Stacy King here, and thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
We had a little chat on Twitter, and I introduced myself to you, and you said, "Nice to meet you," and and we got off into this weird topic about social justice and how and about cannibalism and how to legalize it, and then we came up with the idea to have a podcast about that. So.
Yeah, just in time too. Amos just decided to upload his "Let's make child porn legal" rant, and I'm like, why, dude? Why do you do this? Why are you doing this?
Well, I downloaded his video just in case it gets taken down because I'm not sure with all these different videos being taken down by YouTube because of terms of service. I want to be sure. I want to go make sure that I have the original so I can reply to it. Do do you want to reply to it? I mean, I can you can download it now or just I can send it to you because
Nah, I was talking to other people earlier. No, there's no point of arguing something that is this blatantly. And I think I'm suspicious that he's trolling. Just to make a point about moral relativism. I'm guessing. I don't know. I have no idea what his point is. But it's like, dude, it's like, come on. Physical maturity, concept of I don't know, human sexuality. It's
yeah.
there's no point in arguing with that. There's just no point. Some things are just so blatantly obvious to every person alive if they have a functioning brain that there's no point.
I definitely agree with you on that. But I would still say that it makes sense to argue against such ideas because to me that is the way to actually destroy ideas, not by shutting down people, but examining their ideas and debunking them. So that's why I want to reply to Amos, and I plan on doing that in the future. Even as ridiculous as it might be, because he goes on this rant about that he is a baby porn advocate, and he doesn't even stop at child porn. He goes full on baby porn, and
Yeah, he goes full on Serbian movie, like Serbian
yeah,
film. He's like,
yeah.
yeah, newborn porn, the new, best genre in the snuff industry. Like, why can't someone consent to being killed? Let's not stop with baby porn. Let's just go the whole way.
And that is actually the problem with this golden phrase that's being thrown around like crazy, that it's okay if it's consensual. If both parties consent, it's fine. Well, there has been this case, I think it was in Germany actually, der Kannibale von Rothenburg. It were like two guys who met on a cannibal forum online. One guy wanted to be eaten, and the other one wanted to eat someone. So they met up, and well, one guy ate the other one
Yeah, yeah.
partially.
Mm-hmm.
And that threw up an entire debate about morals and what is allowed in a free society and what's not. And the problem with what Amos did is he completely relativized morals, which is kind of fallacious to do. You know, we have morals and they are derived. They're not just things that we put in place. There are
Exactly.
good
There are
reasons for it.
there are rational reasons behind
Yeah.
morality. As much as people would argue, like, yeah, religion and stuff and morals. Let's make everything relative. No, we don't murder people because not because murder is wrong in a moral sense. We don't murder people because it's against our self-interest. One, you're harming your own population. Two, you're creating a host of people that will want to kill you. you
Mm-hmm.
know it's just
Mm-hmm.
there are rational reasons behind morality, and here we have, with things like cannibalism and child abuse and pornography, the reason we don't abuse children and we don't have sex with them, I soon we'll need a video explaining how to breathe. I
Yeah.
think that the day will come when some special snowflake will say breathing is fucking oppressive, and some rational person will have to make a video explaining how breathing is important and how it's done.
Yeah.
We started with consensual sex doesn't have to have, you don't have to be saying yes all the fucking time unless you really feel like doing so. But, now we've gotten to, child porn isn't good because.
Mm.
Why is the world
Yeah.
this way?
Personally, I don't have a problem with going towards these questions and answering them because the answer to me is simple. As you partially explained already, the answer is in our own biology. The reason behind Amos' video is probably because he thinks that, well, humans have evolved from well, evolution did take place, but humans are still different from animals. And this might be, I mean, this is just an assumption, but it could explain why he would assume and completely ignore biology in this. Because,
So the other thing is that everyone keeps saying, yeah, well, he is trolling. He's a troll, and you don't have to mind him. And here here we come to the moment where we start asking ourselves, okay, when is something going too far? How far is too far?
mm,
And I don't know. I think sometimes some things go, that little inch further than you have to. Like, okay, if you if you show in a clear light that, oh, come on, my world is so noisy. I'm so sorry.
don't worry, it's fine.
I have phones and children and the fan.
Yes,
That
yes,
is,
you made it. You have so many things around you. That is amazing.
yeah. At least my life isn't boring.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I was saying before I completely got sidetracked.
You were talking about this whole cannibal thing,
Yeah,
and
the whole cannibal thing, and when trolling, goes
yeah.
that step too far, uh, when people start taking you seriously on issues that are, this drastic, at
Mhm.
least show some sign of being satirical while doing so. You have to, at least in this day and age, especially with all the people that actually really believe things like that, you really need to stand out and show that you're a Poe, not the real thing.
Mhm. And Amos made it really, really hard for anyone who has watched his entire video to go out and really advocate for him and be like, yeah, it's just a joke. Because how much do we want to take this? How long do we want to play this game? Because Poe's laws apply, and the idea that the line between satire and reality and honesty, seriousness, just gets blurry and blurry the more you do it. So of course, some people will think that Amos was just making a joke, but if it is a joke, it's done very poorly because people are split up about it. People don't
Mhm.
know if it is a joke or not. So if he's serious, that's even worse. So at best, it's a weird joke. But yeah.
Yeah, but our discussion before we went into this crazy la la land full of people that advocate for degenerates and crazy people, before we got to that, we were talking about how um, what's the point of this whole
Uh,
craziness thing.
that essentially the point of this whole craziness thing is to relativize morals again and again and over and over and over. And I in this little chat we had on Twitter, I talked a bit about the Overton window, and from my understanding, the Overton window is something that the wider it gets, it's like a cultural, sociological phenomenon, basically the mainstream. Okay, things that are mainstream, and the Overton window is what is mainstream. So if we take, for example, a topic and look at its overtone window, we can see if it is mainstream or not mainstream and how far. And there are actually studies about how to make, in this case, cannibalism completely morally acceptable. You would start out with some people popping out and having these different ideas about alternative food sources, and then the people would start claiming that this is completely nonsense and this is very dumb, this is not something we would do. In turn, the cannibal side, the pro-cannibal side, would say, well, people have eaten people before, and well, it's a culture, so ta-da. But then people would say, no, it is harming a population. Then people would come out and say, well, here are statistics about benefits of cannibalism, and so forth and so forth. And basically, the discussion about a topic makes it more and more relevant up until the point where if something happens, some altercations between the pro cannibal group and anti cannibal group, if they fight, similar to what is happening with Black Lives Matter, I could infer, then you would have essentially this victim card given to the group which would be doing something immoral, and that way you would completely eliminate all opposition to that group. So how to avoid that is to have a discussion and not go on to having violent riots against people who advocate for things you simply don't agree with. You have to do it verbally, not physically. That is what I would take out of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think it comes with human nature. I still don't remember how that window was called, but it comes with human nature, because in many cases where there was extreme domestic abuse, for example, in big families that are closed off or in communes and stuff,
mhm,
uh, when you have a case out that the victim would habituate themselves to the situation, and their tolerance for pain and abuse would get higher and higher and higher and higher until, maybe if something becomes life-threatening, then they would react, but otherwise it was just part of their daily life. They were just used to it. And I think that it's not only on a personal level, it could be expanded to a social level, something
connection is breaking up.
acceptable. Yeah,
The
exactly.
connection just broke up there. I understood that it's not only personal but also societal.
That the same way someone might get used to the way they're being abused, in a way, the same way a society can adapt to more and more lenient,
Hmm.
understandings
Yeah,
of moral,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
how, because everyone is reacting extremely harshly to all those articles about pedophiles that on their desires,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they are out there.
Yeah.
10 years ago, no one would ever even dare to write articles like that.
Yeah.
Let alone saying like, oh, they're at least they're not raping children. Like, is standard really? At least they're not raping children. That's great. That's amazing.
This is just ridiculous. The idea that, oh well, at least we are not the worst people ever is not changing the fact that you might be doing something morally and just ethically unjust. You can't simply explain something and rationalize it by saying, oh well, it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really ridiculous. And if things like this get written into the law, let's assume Amos is serious. I mean, I know there might be some situations where he's not serious about this whole baby porn thing, but let's assume he is. And if we do that, then that would be a precedent if it were to be taken into law. Because what Amos is doing here, he is systematically trying to destroy society by completely inferring that, well, it is fascist to say that there are restraints on what people can do.
yeah. Everything should be allowed because reasons.
Yeah, and that is the problem. The problem is that every idea should be allowed and challenged, but every action should be regulated if it is committed by police. That is why we have it in the first place. Because without it, we've seen what happens. It's completely just hate mobs and destruction left and right.
We get to the fundamental um, philosophical balance of freedom and security. You know, the more you have of one, the less you have of the other. And in a society where you have a balance of that, people feel free enough and secure enough at the same time. The moment you start giving more freedoms than you know, is, I don't know, necessary, if that is like a way to
Yeah,
put it.
yeah,
The moment you do that, security starts crumbling.
yeah, yeah,
And the other way around, the more security you want, you know, you can feel extremely secure in a police state if you're on the right side of the political spectrum. You're fucking safe, man. You don't even need to lock the door or
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, but you really have to be careful where you go, who you talk to, what you say, and so on and so on.
And personally, I don't know about you, but I personally think that a small government would be good. So just use the government as much as necessary, but as little as you have to. That way, you distribute responsibility on the individuals, and you let people micromanage themselves within families and communities, and don't call for government to step in and help you because you can. That this is what Black Lives Matter is doing. They protest police, but at the same time they call police for help when someone is attending their demonstrations and they don't want these people there. You can't call yourself a free person, a free living individual, if at the smallest problem that you have intellectually, you run to the government for help. That is simply not true. You can't do that and still have both things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. Was
Yeah.
that how the
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
went?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Yes.
I'm having just comments on to the stream here on the side, and
Oh, what is the chat saying?
the chat is saying things like, well, they some of them are defending Amos Yee, and one person in particular is saying that Amos isn't trying to destroy society, and I told him that he calls for removal of constitutional rights, which he does. You know, in his video, you did watch it, right? You saw it too, right?
I didn't finish it. I
You,
didn't I
you
just
didn't finish.
couldn't. I didn't
You didn't
finish it.
finish.
He probably said something enlightening in the end, but I just couldn't reach it.
He in the end, I don't know exactly at one what time point it is, but he goes to say that, well, it's fascist to try to restrain these things because it's the individual's interest, and the baby should be held responsible, or at least the parenting should be held responsible. So that child porn laws should be completely abolished, and well, pornography should be evenly distributed and freely distributed. It's not really a good argument. He calls on, well, basically anarchy. He wants to get rid of laws because laws inhibit people from doing certain things that they might want to do.
Well, good luck in an anarchy. Good luck with him, getting away from the people that want to silence him and kill him because he's making fun of the Quran. That's
Yeah.
all I gotta say. Like, you want to be, protected and security and shit. Well, good luck in an anarchy getting
Mm,
that, because
mm,
that's not gonna happen
yeah.
ever. in an anarchy.
Yeah, yeah, and I watched this movie. I the movie I wanted to upload it. I wanted to make subtitles to it. It's in Russian, and I wanted to have it on YouTube for people to see, but it got taken down globally. But the movie is essentially about a guy, like a knight. Okay, his name is Lancelot, and he is coming to a place, a town where they have a dragon there, and the villagers are preparing for one of their most beautiful girls to be given off as the dragon's bride, and it's all very very dark and totalitarian under the dragon's regime. So the knight challenges the dragon to a duel. They fight, the knight wins, and the people in the village start to construct a new dragon. They start to construct a new entity that they can automatically and just uniformly blame for all their problems, but still say that it has something good to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very confusing for the knight to see these things where he just was told to abolish and kill the dragon, and everyone was on his side, but he does it, and people still build a new one. They can't kill the dragon in their heads, you know. And that made me think of freedom as a two-party system where there's freedom from the government and freedom from the if you think that you're free, you're gonna feel like you're free no matter in what totalitarian regime you're living. And that explains a lot of discussions I had with people in the Middle East who would say that, well, we are just as free, even if not more free than people in America, because this and that and this and that. And I'm like, well, aren't you allowed to? Aren't you prohibited from doing certain things? And they're like, yeah, but so are you. So
Yeah,
this,
yeah. Well, here we come to the topic of cultures. You know, different cultures value different things and have a different value system. And, you know, some freedoms are more important for some people than others. That's why different governing systems are good for different cultures.
yeah,
You know, for us as Europeans, a democracy sounds great, especially a working one. Wow, that sounds awesome. But there are cultures where actually people don't want to have to have this responsibility of governing themselves. And a totalitarian regime is actually better for them culturally.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and this is going to sound super extreme because everyone wants to free everyone so they can be free and happy and stuff. But there are cultures where if you remove the more totalitarian form of government, they start fighting between each other
yeah.
because they're still at a very low cultural evolution, if you can call it that.
Yeah, yeah, I understand
And
what
the
you mean.
tribalism is a lot bigger, and collectivism is a lot stronger in those people, opposed to the individualism you have in the West.
Hmm. Also, in the movie, there is a movie for this story. There's a book, a story, and a movie adaptation of it. And in the movie, the knight also gets like to see the dragon and to talk to him about things. And the dragon calls upon some servants and asks them if they want to be freed, because they are allowed to leave whenever they want. But nobody wants to leave. They all just simply want change. They are not willing to have the change happen and to change accordingly. They just want things to change just as a thing, as a scapegoat, you know, as a way of saying, well, we demand that things change, but in the end, it's never enough. And
Yeah.
with
Well, with that thing, I remember a cartoon I saw recently. You know, who wants to change? And everyone raises his hand. No, who wants change? And everyone raises their
yeah.
hand. Who wants to change? And everyone is like, not me. I'm not changing. I'm perfect.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And this also very well applies to movements these days. I mean, uh, I don't remember, but movements had a beginning, a middle part, and then an ending, right? They used to have that.
At least
Now,
here in the Balkans, I know we're a little bit backwards and a little bit old school, but when we had anti-communism, pro-capitalism movements,
hmm
um, we those movements succeeded. The party was toppled.
hmm
Communism was gone, and the movements turned into political parties with,
yeah,
right-leaning
yeah,
ideologies
yeah.
tied to them. That's what happened.
Yeah. Movements don't die. They simply
Evolve.
transform and mutate. Yeah, they evolve into things. And like feminism, there has been feminism, the first wave, then the second wave, and now it's the third. And I already seen people advocating for the fourth wave of feminism, which
What
would
would that be? Like, third wave feminism is institutionalized feminism. We have
yeah,
feminist parties. We have a whole system that has the authority over family and sexual life, which
yeah.
is ruled by feminists. What's next? A feminist state? Is that going to be the fourth wave feminism? Let's make a feminist state where we have head of feminists and minister of feminism and minister of feminist thought and multicultural. I don't know. Like that would be the next step of feminism. There's
No.
nothing more to do.
Yes, and because there is nothing more to do, so far what I have seen about fourth wave feminism is it's people trying to reverse the problems that third wave feminism has caused. So
A little
fourth,
bit like BLM, right? Like let's bring back segregation and colored people as a term. Like that's a good idea. That's an awesome idea. Because
no,
segregation worked so well the first time around. We should do it again.
no. I as from what I understand about the fourth wave of feminism, it would be about actually the inequality between which has been caused through third wave feminism should be eliminated by causing more equality for men and blah. But the ride never ends. Okay, it never stops. It never
It's like Candy Crush. You've gone so far, and there's such a long way to
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
You're like 10,000th level, and you still got like 20,000 more levels to go.
it's never over, and I couldn't believe that such a branch of sociology, that sociology itself would have some people like a very strong root of like the Frankfurt School of Reasoning that aims to destroy capitalism by destroying the family and freeing the individuals in like from capitalism by destroying and confusing the family by causing infights, because if you destroy the family, the motor of capitalism, you destroy capitalism, and that way all people will be automatically better off and free. And that is done by critical theory, by questioning every single thing there is in society, by not really abolishing things to build something better, but to just get rid of things. Just get rid of things, because I haven't heard feminists propose anything. They just demand things. They never propose anything. They don't propose things to be in a way that would benefit both sides. They just want their way.
Yeah, my favorite aspect of feminism is that they imply, I don't know,
Yeah, they imply. Yeah.
apply, probably.
Imply. Apply. Okay,
Yeah,
just
apply.
say
I
it.
think
Just
apply is the correct word. Things that haven't worked in testing, uh, like how did they call it? Intersectional feminism.
yeah.
Yes, if I don't know, if everyone's probably heard this before. Christina Hoff Sommers talks about it in almost every talk she gives. Once upon a time in the 70s, someone came up with intersectional feminism, and there was this, big group gathering of feminists in the 70s. She went, the speaker said, "Hey, look, we've come up with this awesome thing called intersectional feminism. She explained how it worked, and everyone said, "Oh, this sounds so great. We can focus on our individual problems." They split up into groups, the lesbians, the black lesbians, the black moms, the single moms, the family feminists, and so on and so forth. And they split up into all these groups and started talking about their different problems. And very soon afterwards, instead of, reaching some kind of, acknowledgement of other people's problems and fixing them, they started infighting, over who has more problems than the other people and whose problems should be solved first.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but think of that, that story that Christina Hoff Sommers tells about intersectional feminism. When I saw what Black Lives Matter Toronto did to the Pride Parade, like I was like, oh my goodness, it's happening again in larger numbers.
Yes.
Because it worked so well the first time around. I hate it when someone does something that has already been done, expecting different results. It's like insanity. Why are you doing this? It's been tested. It doesn't work. Throw it out. Try something new. Life goes on. Get over it.
No. Because getting over it would actually mean that these people go out and try to achieve equality by taking personal responsibility. No. That's
No,
that's not
who
what they
needs
want.
responsibility when you have victim status? Come on, it's way
Exactly.
juicier and easier and
And the thought that minorities have to be heard and everyone else, the majority, has to shut up. And in the West, it just happens so to be that the majority of people are white or have a slightly brighter skin type, right?
yeah.
That oh well, wow, all these people, look at the majority, they are the oppressors. Everyone, even though nobody oppresses you, you feel oppressed. And people simply don't understand that there are like two feature matrix, right? Just being explicitly insulted, right? Just something that is there to insult explicitly, knowingly. And the second feature is that you feel insulted, right? So most people would not understand that if nobody wants to insult you, but you get insulted, that doesn't mean that you should get insulted. There's nothing to be upset over. And you're just making problems up. But but then
What
again,
was the saying? Offense is taken, not given.
yes,
Something
yes,
like
yes, yes.
that.
Yeah. Offense is no. Offense is never given; it is taken.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You don't be offended. There is not. We don't live in a Harry Potter world where you can just say something and then people will be automatically upset all over the world at the same time and the same quantity and quality. It does not work like it. People, different types of different sorts of humor, and people are different from one another. I even heard this most stupid intersection theory, but it's the pinnacle of it, where every single human being has their own gender.
That sounds legit. That's my only reaction. It's like, yeah,
Just,
sure, of course. Mm-hmm.
just everyone has. See, the biggest issue I have with intersectionality is that valid or invalid as it may be, it does not discredit the things that are already established. It just adds to them.
Yep.
And then you have this weird moral relativism thing where you would say that, well, minorities have to be heard because they are minorities, and that's a circular argument, and it's just so completely dumb. And we live in a system that systemically oppresses minorities, but still protects them and gives them rights, and boo-hoo, and it's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
So dumb. I on my channel, I one of the first video responses I made was to Kelly Kitagawa, and she made a video how reverse racism doesn't exist, and
Oh yeah, it doesn't. Everything is racism.
yeah, of
Like
course,
there's no
yeah.
reverse sexism. You're just being sexist to a man. Imagine that.
But she argued that if you are someone who makes a joke, you hurt someone purposefully because they get hurt. And the idea there was that well, it's all a social construct. And then I replied to it with, well, if it is a social construct and the reality of the people who are, for example, disabled is that they are disabled, why should they be upset about people telling them that they are disabled? There
No,
is no reason for that.
it isn't in good taste. It isn't
I know,
polite. But
I know, yes.
there is a line between uh, being impolite and hating someone. You can be
Yeah,
a total asshole for all I care. You know, you won't have friends and people won't like you, but it's your choice.
yeah,
You
yeah,
shouldn't go to jail for being an asshole. Or you shouldn't be silenced for being an asshole. The
yeah.
thing is, less people will listen to you because you're being a cunt, and
That's
people
natural
don't like
selections of ideas. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. And I even argued that well, if the person who are you talking about, like whom you are talking about, is disabled, they can simply adjust their reality to fit to be better. They can just simply update it so they won't be upset with people point out that they are black, a woman, disabled, so and so old. You can just evolve and adapt to your own surroundings simply to be stronger and more durable in society, because you just come up to these people and say that you're a cis white man and they lose their shit. It's
Yeah,
just so stupid.
exactly. Well, there's always the thing that some people hear something about the group they identify with and immediately think people are talking about them. Happens to women a lot.
Mm.
And I noticed that when I was going around MGTOW circles. It was like, what female nature is like this, and they talk about evolutionary psychology and things that have been observed repeatedly and have their basis in mate guarding and reproductive strategies. And it's a long story, but basically you have this observation that is made in a very rational manner, and women lose their shit over it. It's like, no, we're not this. I'm not, my boyfriend is poor. And I'm like, girl, you don't get it, do you?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with sometimes black people and crime statistics. Crime statistics are verifiable, true data that represents the real world.
But
You
oh,
might
Stacy.
not be, yeah, you might not be a thug. You might not be, someone that kills people, but your demographic has, this little tendency, observable and demonstratable. Don't get
Uh,
butthurt over it.
oh, Stacy, you are so rational and reasonable that you completely you can't possibly get down on the level of these dumb people, because most of them probably, when faced with the question if they agree that there are objective things in life and truths in life, they would even disagree with you on that. So this is the central problem, because
Yeah,
you're
because
arguing.
government lies and wants to make us niggas look bad and
Not,
stuff.
not only that, but the idea that, well, human beings were wrong in the past as well. So, haha, you can't simply make a theory and then test it, because what is truth? There is no truth. It's all a social construct, and so we have to destroy things and don't look at statistics, because no, every statistic is flawed if it's not done by me.
Yeah.
Because
And if it's not a Twitter poll. Oh my goodness, the last video. The moment I said Twitter poll, I thought of Venetian. He made a video today. Did you know that? He
no,
made
I
a
have not
video.
seen it.
He makes videos every day, and I'm subscribed to him for some reason. And yeah, he made another video about feminists going over the dictionary definition for the 100,000th time. And then he said, like, see, feminists are good people. Let me show you this huge list awesome, good people, and
Mm.
and famous feminists, and he Google searches famous feminists in Google image, and he pulls up pictures of celebrities that have said they're feminists, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly the people that know shit about feminist theory, and those are their scholars and the people that write the books on feminism. It's Beyonce and that girl from Twilight, and that singer that sings country songs, but now she sings pop songs, and yeah, those are the feminists of our age, man. Like they're the scholars. They're famous and they're feminists. So those are the famous feminists that God. I
Mm.
was just face palming the whole time, thinking, why? Just why are you so dumb? You're so pretty. Why are you so dumb, Anision? Why?
See, I believe that if someone strawmans enough times, they become a strawman themselves.
Yeah. No brain, just
And
straw.
yes, yes, because does Onision not understand that his
I
argument is fallacious?
I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I've given up on him.
And
I'm
see,
like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Onision doesn't matter. And Onision is the prime example of something you could call appeal to authority, the authority fallacy. To say, oh well, Onision has a lot of subscribers, that means what he's saying is correct, right? Well, no. Well, no, 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 no. Even if he were a hardcore, just really just a feminist who wrote all the books on feminism ever written, he still cannot go out and say what feminism is, because feminism is an open movement and anyone can join. And then if someone fucks something up in the name of feminism, then that taints the entire movement.
yep.
And that is what I was also talking about in the chat on Twitter with you. That I derived this little theory that seems to be very solid, and the idea is that every single person, possibly even every single living organism, does the things that it wants to do out of the things it can do.
Hmm.
And the idea behind that is that, first of all, this wanting to do things can be recursive. So you could
Sorry.
no problem, no problem, don't mention it. So you could end up and describe with this little theory people who want things, but they don't actually want to do them because they otherwise could find better ways to achieve these goals. It's like wanting to drink, and then you go out and you get a glass and you drink, but wanting to want to drink is just imagining being thirsty. And human beings have different circles of things they can do, but they always do the thing that they want to do out of the things they can do. Right? Well, would you agree with that? Would you say that that seems to be okay as an observation?
Yes, but I think there's a cleaner and neater way to explain what you're talking about.
Oh, I would like to
And
hear it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not very good at it, but Stardust explains it extremely well. That uh, a surprising number of choices and behaviors humans have are biologically programmed, and we are there's a negligible amount of free will in what we do. We do what we're programmed to do, and we have a very, small window of things we want and thrive doing. So it's kind of like it's very biologically deterministic, I know,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
when you think about it, all your biggest life choices are basically biologically driven, you know?
Just because they're biologically driven, I would not say they're biologically driven. I would say they are biologically influenced. But humans have a difference from animals. Humans have the ability to self-control. And that is what I am referring to when I say that people do what they want to do out of the things they can do. Part of this want is, of course, part of the wanting to do things will be influenced biologically. I'm not discrediting this, but you can also, because you're a human being and you can control yourself, your instincts and your reflexes to a certain extent, you can always be responsible for your own actions no matter what is. I mean, of course, I understand that torture, for example, exists, right? You can't simply ignore the pain of being physically beaten, right? But that simply limits the possibility, the ability, what you can do. But it then comes to a close on people like on the things you can do, because if you're strapped to a chair and people are hammering your kneecaps in, of course you can't simply want to be outside of the situation. There are physical and physical restrictions on it. You can't fly even if you want to. That would be a restriction of things you can do, but you can still want to fly and then find a different way to it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not discrediting things that, well, we can go through walls if we simply want it long enough. No, 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 no. No, no, no. We have physical bodies, and uh, oh man.
Yeah, but your wants and imaginations and so on and so forth are uh, have a biological reasoning under them. You know, you learn things, you expand your, you know, we overcomplicate things and have very complicated social structures and ways of interacting with each other, but on a very base level, we're still doing the same thing we did like 10, 20,000 years ago. It's just, you know, neater, cleaner, and way more complex.
Yes, yes, of course, yes. And in the end, I'm not saying otherwise, that we're just on a speck of dust and in a sea of stars, but it's still remarkable to know that so many different opinions exist, and it's very interesting to see how things will change in the future.
Definitely,
Because
definitely.
because a couple of months ago I was starting to get really, really bored because, well, nothing was happening in the West. But then, oh my God, what a shitstorm!
Yeah, well,
Oh my
I
God.
think it was a Chinese curse. You know, may you live in interesting times.
Yes, yes, it just happens to be so. Yes, yes. Uh,
Yeah,
God damn it. I mean, when more and more things start to pop up that make it seem like a conspiracy theory might actually be true, you might have a problem. There might be something that's going badly. I mean, if people are advocating passively and actively for a race war, you might want to step back a bit. Just
yeah. And no one's saying no. We shouldn't be doing that. No, no one. Everyone's like, yeah, sure, sure. They didn't do nothing. You know, Black Lives Matter didn't do nothing.
oh,
They're
of
just,
course,
you know,
of
they're just
course,
these poor
yes.
oppressed people. Let's just coddle the poor oppressed people and be understanding, because their struggle is like no one ever had ever in the world at all.
To struggle is my cause.
Yeah.
I want to be the very best. Being so oppressed. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. There is this very, very strange article by Junta Ka Reporter, and it basically states that UNESCO declared Islam as
It's
the most
yeah.
peaceful religion of the
Yeah.
world.
It's a Poe. It's a Poe. I shared it, then I read it, then someone told me like it's a Poe, and I'm like,
Okay.
ah, damn. It would have been fun if it wasn't a
But
Poe,
you
but
see,
it is.
you see the times in which we live in, that everyone is just so uncertain about things.
Oh,
It's
come on, Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. Why wouldn't Islam be the most peaceful religion? It's like, come on.
now hold up. You can't just infer from one individual on a whole group. Just because one Muslim is okay doesn't mean that all Muslims are okay. Okay, you can't just do that, right? Because the
Uh,
same argument has to apply to both sides, right?
of course, yeah.
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 Most people just overlook this completely. That
No,
oh,
by the way, Muslims in my country, like the Muslims I used to defend Muslims all the time because in my country, traditionally, there are Muslims living here because Bulgaria was part of the Ottoman Empire at one point, and when we broke away, there were people living here being Muslim.
mhm.
And there's still, like, I don't know, about 10-12% of the population, but they're Muslims like the Christians that are around. Like they go to mosque and they pray from time to time, and they pretend not to eat pork even though they do because it's the cheapest. And they congratulate themselves around Ramadan and stuff, but they're bad Muslims. Basically, they're just bad Muslims, normal people. Like everyone's a bad Christian, but that's okay. Yeah, and there are villages in the rural areas of Bulgaria where like half the population of a little town would be Muslim, the other part would be Christian, and the imam and
The
uh,
priest.
the priest, yeah, would sit together on different occasions, and they'd celebrate together, and everyone loved each other, and they were inter uh, religious families and stuff.
Mhm.
So I had this wonderful opinion of Muslims. They're a progressive, really good, absolutely non-orthodox Muslims that are just normal, cool people.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
looked at the Middle East,
And
and
then I saw the Middle East, and I was like, nope,
mm,
nope. And the worst part of things are that they try to infiltrate. Like they send people over, and like the same way you have Mormons on all around the world, and how were the door knockers called? The people that knock on your door?
the Samaritans, and
No.
no, yeah, I get what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, those people that knock on your door to ask you if you want to talk about Christ today. You know,
Yeah.
the same thing happens with radical Islam. They open radical mosques, and the local Muslim population is like, they're radicalizing our people. Like we were normal people, now they're people that are not normal. Get
Hmm.
them out of here. Like the
Yeah.
bigger traditional Muslim population points these people out and says like they're not okay. Get them out. Arrest them. They're advocating violence against our Christian daughter-in-law,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
she's carrying our ambiguous in its beliefs, grandchild right now.
So I guess the key to survival is to, well, build on personal responsibility and traditional values while still listening to dissenting opinions.
That's a good place to start. Yeah.
And I feel like many people would already have 10 different problems with what I just said.
Oh well.
I'll let
Nothing
them.
is perfect.
Just let them, because I I stumbled across
Oh,
philosophical razors. Yeah. What
yeah.
what?
The guy, Edindro, whatever his last name is, like Whitehall. Whitehall.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're called Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you, dude.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Hmm. So, as I was saying, I got into philosophical razors and logical fallacies, and I got into it through YouTube videos and people just using these weird different terms like what is an ad hominem and what is a straw man,
Oh yeah.
what is a non sequitur, things like that, and
Oh, Spino has taught me so much, so much. I every time I hear I hear someone, saying this is true because I say so. I hear Spino in the back of my head saying, "Arbiter of truth, tell me more," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, thanks for teaching me things about logic and
yeah,
my
yeah.
brain is growing. Thanks."
It's very very helpful to understand philosophic discourse as not a thing of competition, but more as a thing of together coming together and seeking the truth. And theories, if you seek the truth, then your theory, if it is not correct, can be debunked and can be discredited. And you will still look at it from the perspective of, I have gained something. I have gained the knowledge of things I should not do anymore.
Exactly.
And people completely ignore this aspect as maybe they don't even know it, maybe they don't want to know it. But if you go into a discussion with the mindset of nothing you say can change things and I'm just gonna say things, then it is nothing more than just a vacuum, but just pretending to be air. It, there is no exchange happening. You just come up and say something, then you get a different opinion, and Twitter fights happen.
Yeah.
Just makes no sense.
Well, I've learned early on um, uh, to be able to learn.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting messages right now.
Oh, that's so amazing. You're such a busy person. I am
I
so proud of you.
am. Yeah, I am. Um, I have a phone call to take. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. We have to take a break for a moment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, hi everyone. Uh, the phone call is taking place, and I am sitting here. If you like, I can answer questions from the chat. Like, have you heard the good news? I'm the best. Yes, near Edinburgh, Whitehall, you are the best, but you still need to prove that. You can't simply say things and then not follow up with proof. And no, love peace. I have not heard of Max Egan. I'm actually going to Google that dude. Max Egan, the Crow House. Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting. Crow House. Mm.
Hey,
Hey, you're back.
I'm back. We gotta start wrapping this up because I gotta go in 5 to 10 minutes.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I will. I will then do my own things. I still have presentations to do and college homework to make. I study computational linguistics.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I fear that the language police will come knocking at my door because I tagged words differently and it's word phobic or I don't know what. It's
Word phobic. Oh my
word
goodness.
phobic. Yeah, you are afraid of words.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you for being so enthusiastic and taking me up on this offer. Yeah, this has been Stacy King, and have a great day.
You have an awesome day too.
Bye bye.
Bye.